So before I say anything else, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming here today to show the BBC that we will not stand for their bigotry. You're all amazing. All of you. This is also my first time speaking in front of a crowd, so to put it crudely, I'm shitting myself. I'd like to give a couple of trigger warnings for transphobia and mentions of suicide. If you can't listen to that right now, please feel free to leave. So allow me to introduce myself. My name is Lewis, my pronouns are he, him. I am a 20-year-old neuroscience student, so don't you fucking dare come and try and talk to me about psychology. And I have a huge passion for art. I'm also a trans man. I came out less than a year ago, so this life of being out and proud is still very new. I have spent the last 7 years battling myself to get to where I am today, and I've also spent the last 7 years paying close attention to the media's portrayal of trans people. And one thing has been made very clear. The media wants the general public to hate us. We all know why we're here. The BBC published an article titled, "We are being pressured into sex by some trans women." Thanks, Caroline Lowbridge, you bitch. This bigoted essay, published under the guise of journalism, paints trans women as opportunistic predators, people the general public should be frightened of. Once again, the media are trying to shame trans people for their anatomy and sexuality. Seeing trans women's bodies being referred to as male bodies by Annie O'Brien, yes, I'm calling people out by name, made my stomach turn, and I'm sure you all had a similar reaction. The media are creating a sweeping generalization that all trans people and their bodies are the same. Spoiler, they aren't. Of course, that should be obvious, given that no people and their bodies are the same. But I digress. Of course, this article is just the tip of the iceberg. The BBC refused to platform trans people to discuss trans issues without simultaneously platforming anti-trans people for the sake of balance. In case anyone hasn't got the memo yet, bigotry is not balance. The BBC will platform people with anti-trans views without providing context. I mean, they platformed Lily Cade, a known rapist who publicly declared she would happily execute every trans woman if she had the chance. The less said about her, the better. Nobody is defined by their genitalia, in case you haven't noticed. We as human beings are so much more than that. So, why must the media continue to push this narrative? A narrative that's been building since the creation of mass media. I'll tell you why. They want us to be ashamed of our bodies, our identities, and our stories. They want cis people to react to our bodies with laughter, repulsion, and violence. My favourite film as a young person ended with a man stripping a trans woman of her clothes in a room full of people and exposing her genitalia. This caused everyone in that room to vomit. From a young age, I was being conditioned to believe that trans people are repulsive. When I go on dates, believe it or not, I do go on those, I still have the image of people vomiting in the back of my head. No wonder it takes so many of us years to come to terms with who we are. Media, in all of its forms, will forever be a means of mass education. It has the power to make people more knowledgeable on marginalised groups. It has the power to uplift those stories and humanise communities. But instead, they choose to further ostracise those groups. I now want to speak, I'm going to take my hood down for this, directly to the BBC. Your anti-trans article includes a survey that doesn't even meet your own guidelines. Citations used in the article come from renowned anti-trans groups and individuals. You allowed the generalization of trans women to be repeatedly... Oh, sorry, my bad. You allowed the generalization of trans women based on a biased survey with an extremely limited sample size. Again, don't argue about science with me. You allowed trans women to be repeatedly referred to as men without any criticism. You also generalized our lesbian friends and allies by reinforcing the narrative that real lesbians are not attracted to trans women, which is, of course, bullshit. Oh, and may I remind you that you gave J.K. Rowling a fucking award for her transphobic essay. And in case anyone thinks that our presence here today is unjust, I have got some shit to tell you. The rates of transphobic hate crimes in this country have quadrupled in the last 5 years. And may I add, these are only the ones that have been reported. In 2012, 10 years ago, a UK study involving nearly 900 trans people, see, we're talking about sample sizes, bigger means better, yeah? It found that 48% of those surveyed had attempted to take their own lives. I am proud to be a gay and transgender man. But I am also deeply afraid. I often leave the house in fear of being attacked. My openness online makes me scared of being harassed. I have to make peace with the fact that I probably won't have my first appointment with a GIC for another 5 years. I have to stomach being blatantly misgendered when I have my pronouns emblazoned across my chest. And unfortunately, I'm not alone in this. People in this community live in fear of harassment and violence every single day. Our crime? Existing as our authentic selves. So, to everyone at the BBC, I hope you're still listening, publishing articles containing anti-trans rhetoric will only continue to add to the people's fear of trans folk. By publishing anti-trans rhetoric, you give transphobes power and validation. By publishing anti-trans rhetoric, you contribute to the harassment and violence our community faces. Your bigotry is killing trans people. The wonderful folks who put this event together wrote an open letter to you regarding your continued transphobia, and that received over 20,000 signatures. You did nothing. You are the biggest media outlet in this country. You have the power to educate the public on trans issues. You have the power to uplift our lived experiences. You could create so much positive change. But if you won't stand up for us, we sure as fuck will stand up for ourselves. We will not be silent in the face of your bigotry. Not now, and not ever. We are proud, and we are powerful, and we will create change. So if you could say it with me, platforming hate is not impartial!
Platforming hate is not impartial!
Trans